task 17 is related to manage project closure or transition. Let me re-explain you the process of closure or transition to the project, from project to operations via sponsor. Whenever we need to close anything, the first thing will be closed is procurement, then phase, and then project. So please read the question carefully that they are asking to close phase, procurement, or project. If they are asking to close the phase, so first you will close procurement, then you will close phase. If they are asking you to close the phase, so first you will check all the phases, all the claims, technical claims, financial claims, invoices. Then you will go for project closure. If you are going to close the project, then yes, you will close the project. And before doing the closure, you will check, or you will do administrative closure, where you will check all the activities required for the closure are completed. Then you will go to close the project. At the same time, when all the acceptance are received, you will start working with required stakeholders along with the sponsors to transition the deliverable from project to operations. So first project, procurement, then phase, and then project closure. And when it comes to closure, for each of the thing, whether procurement, whether phase, whether project, we have to perform administrative closure activities, which means collecting all the document, including the contracts, invoices, schedules, change requests, acceptance, certificates, and everything, and putting them together so you can prepare a proper project file, which will be distributed at the end of the project to the required stakeholders and uploaded to OPA or to archive also. So based upon that, first you need to understand, determine criteria to successfully close the project or phase. If you guys have some information, can you tell me where we write the project successful criteria when the project will be considered as completed? Determine criteria to successfully close the project or phase. What document will give you the guidelines that, okay, now you can close the project? Give me the name of two documents. What do you remember? Where we mentioned that, yes, now we can close the project or phase of procurement. One is called as project charter, and other one is called as scope baseline, where you will clearly define what will be the acceptance criteria. And in Agile, what acceptance criteria have? The checklist of acceptance criteria is called as checklist of all the work done. Yes, very good. Definition of done. What is definition of ready? What definition of ready means? Exactly. Definition of ready means you have sufficient information, enough information to start the work on the story or on the requirement. And when we collected the requirements, we collect what type of requirements? We collect project requirement, product requirement, stakeholder requirement, business requirement, functional requirement, quality requirements, functional requirements, non-functional requirements, also transition requirements. That when you are going to make the transition from project to operations, what you need to ensure, whom you need to engage, what preemptive actions have to be done. Will there be a training provided? Will you run it for a while and then you will transition it? Like we call it build, own, operate, and transfer. So these strategies will be written where? In the contracts. Conclude activities to close out project phase. If you think all the things are done, then start working on administrative closure. And closure is you will collect all the documents, you will submit project file to the relevant stakeholders, you will prepare the final report to be submitted to stakeholders, you will perform the sellers evaluation, suppliers evaluations to whom you worked with in the project. You will also perform the evaluation of your team members before releasing them. You will collect the lesson learned from them. And after the transition is done, file is completed, and you will check in the final report. You will also mention that project objectives were achieved or not. Ultimately, collecting all the lessons together, putting them all in the project archives, you will release the team and then you will release yourself. That was the definition of task 17 and with the revision of information. Now let's go further and solve the questions related to this information. All deliverables have been completed and verified internally. Your quality assurance and quality control have approved them. The sponsor verbally confirms satisfaction. Finance is preparing to close cost accounts. What should the PM do first? Question itself is giving you the answer. Conduct final retrospect session. Archive all project artifacts. Obtain documented formal approval. Release all project resources. We don't work verbally. There is nothing called verbal in project. Verbal could be formal, verbal, or informal verbal. But verbal thing will not be done for that. For proper communications, we use formal written or written communication. So yes, C is correct answer. Very good. Let's go next. The operations team has received documentation but has not participated in transition simulation. Deployment date is tomorrow. What is the most appropriate action? Wait here, please. If it would be you, what would you suggest? Without reading the options, you guys tell me that you could not connect with the people who were responsible for the operations and you have a date tomorrow. What do you think you could have done to avoid this? To avoid this. I'm not asking next, I'm asking to avoid this. What would you have done? What could you have done differently so it didn't happen like this? Anyone? If you start answering, again, you're answering the question. You're not answering my question, Asif. Please remember the goal. We are here to learn to solve the question, not to solve the question only. So stop answering the questions and focus what I am asking. Prepare yourself for exam, not to prepare yourself to make guesses. So deployment date is tomorrow. Exactly. Not early engagement. You have to engage the stakeholder appropriately by looking at the stakeholder engagement plan, by looking at the communication management plan, who should be contacted, by looking at the stakeholder register, who are your stakeholders. So you should work with them because in every phase, right? In every phase, we update the stakeholder register, predictive. In every phase, we update the stakeholder register. We update the stakeholder engagement plan. If new added or if someone engagement is changed for the new phase, like for this phase, I need Asif. In next phase, I don't need Asif. So I will remove Asif and his engagement for this phase. So I just focus on what is required. And next phase, I just need one of you and I will remove another one of you. So after every end of phase, we will update the stakeholder register, stakeholder engagement plan, communication management plan, governance structure, who should be reporting, which is also included or enlisted in communication management plan. So everything is in stakeholder engagement. So you will change the stakeholder engagement or you will follow the stakeholder engagement. Follow the stakeholder engagement means manage a stakeholder engagement, which is part of execution, and monitor stakeholder engagement, which means When you are sending and talking to them, you are monitoring them. To monitor stakeholder engagement, there is a tool we discussed during the training. Anyone of you remember? There was a table like this, what we call that table, which have their current engagement and desired engagements. Exactly. Same stakeholder engagement assessment metrics. So by managing and by monitoring, sorry, by managing and by monitoring, you are looking at their engagements also. So stakeholder engagement was not done appropriately. That's how you could avoid it. So we were able to recall the information about a stakeholder register, a stakeholder engagement plan, a stakeholder communication management plan. Now let's go and read the question above. What is the most appropriate action? What is the most appropriate action? It means we are discussing about a risk situation or about an issue situation. Let's clarify this first before answering. Deployment date is tomorrow, but has not participated, which means it's gone. So issue. So now your answer actually matters. When you read the question, when you identify this information, your answer matters. If you will select risk answer, it will be wrong. It's an issue situation. We have to handle it as an issue, not as a risk. So proceed with deployment and provide post go live support. Suitable options. Sometimes we have to do like this. Extend deployment date. Can you do this? Exactly. And can you escalate to governance? Why? You can if no one is participating. Validate operational readiness before transition. So this is what, if you look, the whole point of discussion, what we were doing here is what? We have to validate before reaching to the point of transition. So validate operational readiness is the correct answer. Make sense? Let's go next. A vendor has delivered all contracted outputs. Performance metrics were met. However, formal contract closure documentation is incomplete. What should the PM do next? You read the options and put your answers in the chat window, please. It's not about release, it's not about close exactly. Complete contract closure procedures. Very good. Next, at the end of phase one, deliverables are accepted. The next phase introduces different stakeholders and funding approval. I have just explained you that. What should the PM do first? The only reasonable answer here is conduct phase closure review. Very good. You cannot do this. You cannot do this. And there is no point of doing this. Very good. Next. The project is complete. Actual costs are slightly below budget. Wait, please wait. Actual cost is slightly below budget. This money will be counted as a profit, or this money will be returned to the sponsor? First answer this, please. Return the money to organization as a profit or return to sponsor? First answer this, please. Did you try to realize what you are answering? Did you try to analyze your brain that when you read like this, what should come in your mind? First thing should come in your mind is which type of contract you guys have made. Fixed price contracts, firm fixed price, or fixed price incentive fee. So which type of contract you have made? This will be the first thing should come in your mind. And when you say actual costs are slightly below budget, if the word is cost baseline, so I can say it will be returned to the organization as a profit. But the word budget, where a sponsor is involved. So when a sponsor is involved, the first thing you will check is contract, that how much they are liable to pay you. You made a commitment, right? So if it is below budget, they can say, okay, keep it. If you have incentive fees type of contract, we can share the remaining amount. If you remember, cost reimbursable plus incentive fees, cost reimbursable, right? And with incentive fee type of contract, cost plus incentive fee. So the remaining, if you finish the work in less amount, we will share the remaining amount 80, 20, 60, 40, something like this. Minor invoices, okay. Actual costs are slightly below budget. Now the red flag. Minor invoices are still pending from two suppliers. What is the most appropriate action? Close project and reconcile invoice later. Complete financial reconciliation. Distribute unused funds to other projects. Cancel remaining invoices to speed closure. So I cannot say that actual cost is less until I pay everything. Very good. Next. Throughout execution, sprint retros were conducted at project and stakeholder proposes skipping final lesson learned workshop. What should you do as a PM? That's true. We are not here to listen everybody and act. We will follow the guidelines. We will follow the procedure. We will follow the standard. We will follow the organization standard. We will follow the project standard. We have to follow the process. If we start following the people, then things will be destroyed. We will break our protocols. We don't need to do that. So yes, your answer is correct. Next, a key SME is needed for operational handover next week, but has been reassigned to another high priority initiative. Initiative is project. What should a PM do first? Escalate to sponsor immediately, release SME to avoid conflict, delay transition, or confirm transition readiness. Exactly. It's your internal thing. You will not do this first. If it is the last choice, then yes, you can do it. But that's not the first answer. You should do it. You do not release like this. You have to collect the lesson learned before releasing. You cannot delay anything without change request with the environment and everything available, impact available. So yes, better answer is D. Very good. Next, deliverables meet documented acceptance criteria. However, one stakeholder expresses dissatisfaction with usability that was never requested formally. Verbally, they might have said, but verbal things are easily forgotten. What is the most appropriate action? Reopen scope baseline, extend project to address. Okay, before I read options, when you read like this, we are not here to fight. Remember that. We are not here to fight with anyone to start blame game. No, these are the bad practices. We need to work with them to resolve the issue. Okay. But again, by following the procedure, we will not take initiatives by ourselves. We will engage the required stakeholders. Because normally people think, okay, it's closed, I will not do it. Surely you will not do it, but you cannot say like this. You have to politely doing the stakeholder engagement. Reopen baseline, extend project, validate deliverables against agreed criteria, reject a stakeholder concern entirely. So this is what I was saying, you will never do this. You do not have the authority to do this. Extend project to address informal concerns, validate deliverables against agreed criteria, and then the next thing will be discussed as additional changes. But if you will do it with the same thing, so what will happen? If they ask that feature and you do it with the same phase or with the same baseline, what will happen? Exactly. Scope creep will occur. Next, your organization mandates audit documentation for all projects. This project is a small and low risk. What should the PM do? So yes, answer is quite visible, quite vivid. We are here to tailor. Tailor what is applicable to your size. It's not about project is a small, organization is a small. No, follow it, but what you have to do, tailor it. Next, the project is technically completed. Business benefits will be realized in 9 months under operational ownership. What should the PM do first? Keep project open until benefits are realized. Remove benefits tracking from project records. Extend monitoring period. Confirms benefit realization ownership. Benefits realization is the task of who? Who is responsible for this? Who is responsible for benefits realization? Please answer appropriately. Don't throw the words. Benefits realization is the responsibility of. Stay focused while you're answering. Don't use the simple words. Use the words which are appropriate, terminologies which are appropriate. What I told you, when you see the word benefits, it has to be the program manager. When you see the word benefits, sponsor. When you see the word benefits, business analyst. When you see the word strategic objective, what should come in your mind? Exactly, portfolio. So words have the value and they should be appropriate word. When you're discussing project management, please use the same words. Otherwise, your answer will be vague and you will select an answer which is not relevant. Great. That was the end of task 17 as well as the end of process domain. Thank you very much for being so consistent.